turnup.us/petition for anybody who's applying to colleges or anybody who just supports the message to anti-abortion states and anti-abortion, anti-reproductive rights, anti-bodily autonomy groups out there to make sure that if you don't respect our reproductive rights, then our young people are not applying to your colleges. And what a loss you're going to have. You're not going to have my amazing daughter who's applying to college this year, Asian American, computer science. And if she were to come to your state, she might live there and then grow her future family there, but you're going to lose that opportunity unless you trust women with reproductive rights. And I'm so excited that so here we go.
Hi, how are you?
Oh, welcome.
Thank you.
For joining.
Thank you. Can you hear me okay? I know there's always like tech issues. Okay, great.
Absolutely. Can you hear me too?
Yes.
Great. Well, I see TurnUp Activism joined. If you can request to join us, we can add you. I wonder if I do this plus thing. But in the meantime, Aisha, if you want to tell us and everybody watching, more your audience than mine, probably, about what you do, and I'm happy to share what I do as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So, hello, my name's Aisha Becker-Burrows. I use she, her pronouns, and I am a media strategist, consultant, impact consultant, and I'm one of the co-founders of Feminist, and I lead our strategy and impact. So obviously, hello, we have been very much in the reproductive justice space, so excited to kind of be a part of this conversation.
Love it. And I see that the founder of TurnUp Activism has joined us as well. If you want to give us a shout out about what your organization does, and thank you for bringing us all together.
Well, nice to see everybody. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Well, thanks for coming together on this important issue. As Dr. Yen said, my name is Zev Shapiro. I'm the founder of TurnUp. We're very focused on working with Pandia Health together to put this petition together that we'll be talking about and which folks will learn more about. But we focus on getting young people registered to vote, voting, and then taking action on progressive issues in their communities. This is a key example. And we know that reproductive rights is I think, probably the top issue for young people and certainly for young voters who are voting today. So also great time to be having this discussion and looking forward to it.
So for everybody out there, I'm Dr. Sophia Yen. Mom said, claim all your titles. So everybody, as you get your titles in your life, claim all of the titles. I am a physician. I specialize in teenagers, what we call sex, drugs, rock and roll, a little acne, and some sports medicine. And I founded Pandia Health. We are the only women-founded and women-led and the highest-rated birth control delivery company out there. We can deliver to all 50 states. And so if you have a prescription insurance, you pay us nothing. And we take all insurances except for Kaiser. Sorry, Kaiser. If somebody has it in, get us in there. But thanks to Obama, Biden, and Democrats in office, they passed the Affordable Care Act. And so any FDA-approved birth control, no copay, no deductible, AKA free. So if you're paying anything for your birth control and you have insurance, unless you're demanding a particular brand when there's a generic, and know that 95% of birth control is generic. So I have people come in and like, I want Esterilla, I want Sprintec. And I'm like, that's a generic. And so generally that stuff is cheap and generally that stuff should be free. So if you're paying anything, then go to, there's a website, coverher.org, where the National Women's Law Center will help you argue with your insurance company to make sure you don't have to pay for that. And if you need a prescription, then Pandia Health is in 17 states. We chose the largest population states and the fun states so that we encourage birth control tourism. If we're not in your state, and the example I give is we're not in New Jersey or Connecticut, but we are in New York. Who doesn't get to New York once a year? And so if you can get to New York once a year and be like, I'm in New York right now, and fill out our questionnaire, pay $30 once a year with unlimited follow-up questions, then our doctor in New York can be like, oh, okay, and look at it, write your prescription, and then we can ship to all 50 states. And if you have no insurance, then no problem. It's roughly $15 per pack of pill if you do 3 packs minimum, or 21 because you have to cover our overhead and whatnot. And we can also send to your local pharmacy. But would love you all to sign up and tell everybody you know about it, because the only reason I started the company was so no one runs out of birth control on our watch.
That's really awesome.
Thank you.
And congrats to you. I know that it sounds like TurnUp Activism and Pandia Health had put together a petition. Would one of you guys want to tell me a little more about that? I'm so curious.
I'll start, and Zev, if you want to throw in your thoughts on it. But I was so impressed by TurnUp Activism's getting out the vote in high school seniors and in college students. And I was like, I have a young daughter that's applying to colleges, and it's really scary. The stat is 1 in 4 people with a uterus will be sexually assaulted in college. And if that were to happen to my daughter, I would want her to have the right to decide what happens to her body. And there are states, Georgia and Texas and other states, where if you leave the state, have an abortion, and come back, they will arrest you when you come back. So not only have you been sexually assaulted, but now you are going to be put in jail. Like, this is unacceptable. And so TurnUp agreed to do an amazing petition to the governors of anti-abortion states and the presidents of any colleges in those states that if you do not respect bodily autonomy, then we are not applying to your colleges. So 1, you're going to lose that application fee. And 2, you're going to lose that opportunity to grab my daughter, Asian American computer science major, who's brilliant and would be a great contribution to any society, and the opportunity to grab her to live in your state and build her family in the future. And so that's the petition that's out there. We encourage everybody to sign it and share it with everybody you know. I'm going to drop it in the comments.
Yeah, I think that's a great overview. And I think one of the most important things that sort of encompasses the petition and its mission is really about education, which I think is really important. And part of the reason that we want to put together this discussion is to educate folks about thinking about reproductive rights when they're considering where they're living, or maybe they're living somewhere where those rights are well protected. That doesn't mean that they shouldn't be aware of those places where they're not, and how they may be able to take action to protect reproductive rights in key states. And so I think that one of the key focuses of this petition is not only to enable people to start thinking about it, but to provide that important education, which is really part of our mission at TurnUp, where we educate young people through our internship program, through our digital programs, through other campaigns, to think about issues of importance to them and how to learn, what are the rules in terms of reproductive rights across different states? How will they affect me and people that I know? And then very directly to this petition, how will they affect my choice of college, if that's a choice that I'm going to make?
I love it too, because I think there's so many, moments in which folks can feel really disempowered. And I think there's something about this particular call to action that sort of empowers reproductive bodies to kind of take back their power in a way, right? Kind of saying we will or will not apply to college if you don't provide the support that I need in this state, right? And so I think that's powerful.
So Aisha, being an amazing feminist and Zev also feminist, to remind everybody that a feminist just means that those of us with uteri would like equality. It does not mean we want to dominate the world. And I love that anybody can be a feminist. What are the key factors and historical events that have shaped the current landscape of abortion rights in our country?
Yeah. I love that question because I really love big, juicy questions. And I don't know if I can answer it accurately, but I will try just because it's, it's been a long, long fight. And there are really kind of so many factors that have contributed to the current landscape that we're living in and kind of abortion rights in this country. And I know it's hard for folks to imagine, I think particularly of my generation and even younger, right? Where there was a world where protection to abortion access was non-existent, right? And it wasn't until 1973, right, which is only about 50 or so years ago, that the pivotal Supreme Court case, Roe v. Wade, established the constitutional right to abortion in the first trimester, with some stipulations around the kind of second and third trimester. But this is the landmark decision, as we all know, I think celebrated, effectively legalized abortion across the United States. And it's thanks to the work of many activists, organizers, providers, feminists in particular, in the 60s and 70s, like, just to name a few, Loretta Ross and the Jane Collective, that not only created underground networks during this time to provide abortion care, but also fought to provide abortion care statewide at the state level, and then even kind of fought for the countrywide nation level. And so sadly, on June 24th, I'm sure many of us remember, 2022, not that long ago, a year and some change, the Supreme Court, as we know, kind of overturned Roe, essentially reversing 50 years of legal protection. And sadly, today, abortion is severely limited in almost every state. And we're continuing to see these kind of sweeping extremist bans on abortion care and abortion access, and reproductive justice and bodily autonomy, you name it. And I could have this number wrong, but I think currently there are only 21 states that have state protections to abortion access right now, and that we're seeing that number continue to dwindle, or the different ways in which abortion access has shifted, right, with like fights against kind of over-the-counter abortion pills and all sorts of things. So that's my best attempt at that very big question.
Yes. So I think another vocabulary word to put out there is Dobbs.
Yeah.
So Dobbs is the case that happened, and was that based out of like Mississippi or something like that? Is that
I think
right?
so. Oh yeah.
Yeah. And then a good resource for everybody is I was formerly on the Center of Reproductive Rights Board ages ago, before children, DC, but actually during children too, so DC. And they have a great website, Roe Fell, and it has a map of the United States, and because they're the legal arm of the reproductive rights movement, they update it like daily or weekly, so you can check on your state. And the red states are the not good states on that map. And I think it's actually like 21 states have pretty much outlawed abortion. And as we're having a very important vote in Ohio today, as well as Virginia, so I hope everybody votes and everybody tags everybody you know in Ohio, Virginia, and I heard Pennsylvania and Kentucky are also some really important states, but every state vote for reproductive rights, ask where they stand, know that the Republican Party holds the line. There are no exceptions, no matter what they say. They are anti-abortion, anti-feminist, anti-reproductive rights, reproductive freedom, bodily autonomy, religious freedom. So please, please, please get out there and vote today. And then I always have to throw in a Pandia PSA, public service announcement. Not so much Pandia, but just medical advice. Everybody should know about PlanCpills.org. It's a nonprofit run by a friend of mine, so I absolutely trust her. And she's not making any money off of it. She's just there. You put in your state and it tells you your options. And what's crazy, if you all don't know, Dr. Maria Gompertz is in the Netherlands, and she originally did a thing where in the Netherlands, she would she would offer her services to people in countries where it was illegal, take them out on a boat to international waters where there's no law, perform an abortion and bring it back. And that's why it's women on waves. But then medication abortion, the pill abortion came, and she's like, why am I taking people out on boats? I'm just gonna send it to you. And so now she's doing that. She's writing the prescription from the Netherlands, sending it from India to people in the US of A, in every state. And because she can't get sued because she's in the Netherlands and it's coming from India. And know that it's only $110. So you're hearing people like traveling, missing work, blah, blah, blah. But if you get this ahead of time, and I think any group of 4 women or 10 people with uteri or dormitory, just have some. And then know that if you never checked a pregnancy test and you missed a period and you took some medication to make your period happen, that's not an abortion because you never checked a pregnancy test. And then also know that if you show up in an emergency room and you have taken medication abortion, there is currently no test to tell the difference between a spontaneous abortion, which is a miscarriage, and a medication abortion. So, and by law, they have to take care of whatever they need to stabilize you, make you safe. So know that, but also in the states where abortion is illegal, they may not be able to properly handle miscarriage, which is just crazy and sad. So next question for Aisha.
Yeah. Given
the current climate, what do you think is the most effective way to advocate for reproductive rights and healthcare? And then same question to Zeb afterwards.
Yeah, I think honestly, first and foremost, education, right? I think the first thing that we need to do is make sure that folks that are seeking abortion know where and how to get safe abortions, right? And the reproductive care that they need. So that's first and foremost. And then I think secondly, probably at like an equal level, we also really have to fight these extremist bans and restrictions to abortion access. And so there's like a whole host of ways to do that. Today, obviously, is election day. And so I would be remiss not to mention using our voting power to elect officials that will protect our right to reproductive care and bodily autonomy. Also, as kind of a part of education amplification, Feminist actually put together a abortion access toolkit that we kind of frequently, or as frequently as often, try to update, and that's at feminists.co. And you can go under the tab tools, and there's a toolkit there that kind of gives updates and kind of education on the state of reproductive justice, but also includes different organizations that you can consider donating to. And so some of those would be the kind of NARAL Pro-Choice America, obviously Sister Song, Abortion Action Network, Planned Parenthood. Those are some of the like bigger ones, but there's a whole host of like, if you can give to local state abortion care providers, even better. There's also kind of a whole host of organizations that are literally doing the work to fund people that cannot afford to travel to receive their abortion care. And so donate if you have the privilege of being able to give, then I would consider doing so. And then I think obviously also petitions are incredible. Obviously the one that you all have put together between Pandia and TurnUp Health, but there's also kind of a whole host of other petitions. I know I'm probably botching the exact information, but Planned Parenthood is essentially being sued by the state of Texas for billions of dollars right now to essentially limit abortion care that Planned Parenthood is able to provide in the state of Texas. And so there's a whole host of kind of petitions also going around for that. But yeah, I think part of the challenge and the opportunity, I think, of sort of making it of removing the nationwide like protection from the Supreme Court is that it becomes a state and local battle, which now also really disaggregates power. And so it's really important to, in my mind, like pay attention to the little battles, right? And how those can kind of cause and create and spark change. So yeah, that's just a few, but there are many, many, many ways, and I'm sure that TurnUp has more suggestions as well.
No, I think that's right on. And I think one of the things that we can speak to at TurnUp really relates to the aspect of voting in particular. And so, and in terms of education. And I would say that one of the things that we do in partnership with Dr. Yen is within our internship program, we educate young people about the issue of reproductive rights. Mm-hmm. And what we learn is that a lot of young people are not they're paying attention to it, but they're not paying as much attention as they might want to if they had the opportunity to learn about it. So we'll do a project-based curriculum where young people actually research the state laws that pertain to reproductive rights across not only their state, but other states, and then collaborate with other young people to learn about how does that affect them and their friends, and then think about what they can do about it and actually develop local projects that can make a difference. And so I think that the education piece is important, and bringing that opportunity to more people is something that we're trying to do through this petition, through some digital campaigns, and also through the internship itself. And then I think what it really culminates in is voting and thinking about reproductive rights when one is making a decision about which candidates to support, and particularly that will be taking place today. And so one of the things that we focus very strongly on is just actually registering young people to vote. And we learned that one of the primary reasons folks want to be registered is actually because of this issue. And similarly, that's one of the primary reasons that young people want to actually vote, and particularly today. So actually, a lot of our materials that we've put together for these 4 elections that Dr. Yen mentioned are really about reproductive rights. And it's, which candidates are looking to expand and which candidates are looking to eliminate that important right. So that's definitely a huge focus of young voters, and I think we've seen that actually even more recently in the 2022 midterms, and in particular that people were thinking about that. But I think now it's become even more important and something that's on the minds of even more people. But would also love to hear your thoughts, Dr. Yen, on this issue, and I know that education is really a big focus of your work in addition to advocacy.
Yes. So I'm happy to give Zoom talks to any group of 30 to 100 people at any time on your birth control options, from the IUD all the way down to emergency contraception. Another PSA, public service announcement, if you're looking at over-the-counter emergency contraception, please check your body mass index. Know that if your BMI is greater than 30, Plan B, Julie, and its generics do not work. If your BMI is 26 or greater, and my BMI is 25, and if I eat a little dessert, then probably 26, then Plan B and its generics also do not work so well. So if it were me, my daughter, my friend, I would get Ella, which is the prescription emergency contraception. And again, under the Affordable Care Act, if you have insurance, it's free if your doctor writes a prescription, and get it ahead of time. Think of it as a fire extinguisher sitting in the corner. And if the condom pops at 3 a.m., I want that medicine in the person with the uterus's mouth at 3:10. No cuddling, no huddling, no waiting till the morning after. But also know that you can use any of the emergency contraceptives up to 5 days after. But the sooner you take it, the better. So again, 3 a.m. condom pop, 3:10 in the mouth. So I don't get paid by Ella. I'm just trying to prevent unplanned pregnancy. And if you want more education, please follow Pandia Health. We purposely chose the Greek goddess of healing, light, full moon, because we're about women's empowerment. And Pan is every and Dia is day. So we want to be with you every day. And we are on all socials: TikTok, LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, Insta, obviously. And then if you want to follow me, I'd love that. Dr. Sophia Yen, Dr. Sophia, Sophia Yen, Yen. Trying to get above 1,000 on TikTok, so please help me and tell your friends. And then we also have great educational videos on YouTube that we've got like 300,000 views of new to birth control pills. Here's Dr. Yen's tips. So that's how you can find us, but educate yourself, share the information with others, use your social media platforms to do public service announcements, as in vote today, or I learned check your BMI, or get some EC ahead of time, or get some medication abortion ahead of time, or other things you learned today. Share with the world. Know that you have influence and you have power, and vote, get other people to vote. And if you can donate, donate, and then amplify anybody that's putting out cool messages out there. And I'll toss it to you, Aisha, on where to find and follow you and all your amazing work.
Yeah, absolutely. So you can find me on my personal instance. We're on Instagram. I'll start there. I am also on LinkedIn, all of the things. If you just search for my name, Aisha Becker Burrows, I will come up. You will also, if you search me on Google, you will also see my fun viral wedding situation, which is a fun fact. But no, you can find me on Instagram at Aisha B. Burrows. So AISHA B and then Burrows, BURROWES. That's my personal Instagram. And if you want to support Feminist, please do. We are just at Feminist on Instagram. We have our website, Feminists with the S, FEMINISTS feminist.co. Almost forgot how to spell feminist. And there we have our toolkits. We have blogs, articles, and you can also sign up for our newsletter, which often shares a number of ways to get involved, different feminist news and happenings, and also petitions, ways to take action on kind of all things intersectional feminism. Obviously, our team is mostly based in the US, but we also cover a lot of global and international intersectional feminist issues as well.
That's
And
fantastic.
yeah, how do we find you?
We're at TurnUp Activism across all of the socials, Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn, even Facebook, although most people in my age group don't do that. But I would actually also like to make a plug on Dr. Yen's talks. We've had Dr. Yen speak with our organization interns every few months or so. And it is when Dr. Yen comes and educates the folks in our programs about reproductive rights, about birth control options, and more. It turns out to be by far the most popular event that we run. We do exit surveys with all of our interns. We have about 3,000 now each year that come through. And the most, if you just search, and do sort of a word cloud of these exit surveys, if the folks have been part of the Dr. Yen, what I would call Dr. Yen experience, her name is one of the top words in the word cloud. People find it so educational. I think it's really great, and it speaks to which all of you have seen, the fantastic work that Dr. Yen does. But it also speaks to a problem, I think, within our education system, which is that most young people like myself don't learn about this, and even the ones that do don't learn about the details that Dr. Yen provides, whether it comes to BMI or other important aspects to it. So I think that it's even more important that we have folks who can actually educate young people, but really all people, about their options and choices. So if you have an opportunity to invite Dr. Yen, I would strongly encourage it. You really won't regret the opportunity. But thanks for putting this together in terms of having everybody here. And yeah, TurnUp Activism is our username on those platforms.
Love it. I just dropped in the comments pandiahealth.com/periods optional. That's another crusade campaign of mine. Anybody with a uterus, know that you don't have to bleed every single month, and that you actually decrease your risk of ovarian, endometrial, colorectal cancer, and anemia, quality of life, and landfill if you don't bleed every month. And I'll explain why you don't need to bleed every single month, and that we're actually bleeding 350 to 400 times in our lives compared to what is natural would be 100. So we're bleeding enough for 2 or 3 other women. So check that out. I think it will blow your mind. And my other new hashtag I want to put out there, hashtag stop sucking it up. So if you have bad, evil periods, please see a doctor. Don't suck it up. And if you know anybody with menopause, same thing. Well, thank you all for coming today, and such a pleasure to connect and an honor to meet you, Aisha. Good to see you, Zev, as always. And let's do it again.
Absolutely. We're looking forward to more, and we'll have some other members of our team here in the future, which will be fun.
Yeah, this was awesome. Thank you. Thank you both.
Thank you.
Aisha,
both for all the incredible work that you do.
Thank you for your work, and let's all vote and get everybody else to vote.
Absolutely.
Definitely. I'm going to leave and vote now. So
that's where I'm headed as well. Okay.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.